Hello YouTube, my name's Nero, and today we have some Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, another episode of DNA Saturday, which is the weekly series here on my channel where subscribers send me DNA bombs. That was the Cray class we're going to be using throughout the entirety of this gameplay. If you guys would like, you can go back and pause the video to get a good look at it, but keep in mind I will be talking about the Cray class periodically throughout this video. What we got going on here is a game of Uplink here on the map Riot, running around the AE4. Very fun gun, I gotta say, very fun gun. The gameplay itself was actually sent in by a guy that goes by the name of Links, which you'll be able to find his channel information down in the video description. Of course, we talk about his channel towards the end of the video. But yes, very good player. He's been featured before, and for good reason. He's a very good player, and he's doing pretty good with what is widely considered by most people to be a pretty weak gun, but still, it's a fun gun to use, right? I like the AE4 for the sole fact that it's just a laser weapon, and I'm kind of embracing. At first, I was hesitant to. I'll agree with that. I'll admit it. I was hesitant to kind of like embrace this kind of thing, but after I got kind of used to it, I like the laser weapons in Advanced Warfare, and they're probably my favorite weapons to use. You look at the EM1, you look at the AE4, of course, EPM3, not so much, right? But the laser weapons are fun to use. It is sad to say that the AE4 is pretty weak, not very good, not very powerful. It's a DLC weapon, so essentially, you're not going to be able to access this weapon unless you paid cash monies to Activision to be able to use this weapon. And when we first got it, it was super weak, right? It was a weak gun that you had to pay money for, and they ended up buffing it a little bit. They made it so it actually has less recoil. They also made it so it takes a little bit longer to overheat, because that was one of the big issues with it, was it would overheat so ridiculously quickly. And even after the update, it's a bit better, but it's still not an amazing weapon. It's not on the same level as, say, the AK-12, the HBR-A3, Ball 27. All of these are way better guns, but it's still a very fun weapon to use, because it's a laser weapon that looks pretty cool. And of course, there's a bunch of new variants that have come out for it, although I haven't seen a ton of great variants. Me personally, I haven't actually unlocked a brand new variant for the AE4 just yet, but other people have, and they're saying they're enjoying them, so to each his own, I suppose, on that. Hopefully I end up getting something cool here in the near future, because I do like using the gun, especially after the update where they made it so it doesn't overheat as quickly. I definitely like using it. It's fun to use, but man, is it weak. Man, is it weak. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about Uplink. Let's talk about the gameplay. What's going on here? What's our guy Links here doing? So he's playing Uplink, which Uplink is notorious, I think, in Advanced Warfare for having very predictable spawns. That and UAVs are just rolling through the entirety of this gameplay. It's very easy to be able to spot where these people are at. But he's playing Uplink. It was actually interesting. So in yesterday's video, I was talking a little bit about gun game, right? I was talking about gun game, and I was saying it's kind of cool they're bringing this back. You know, it's one of those game modes that, you know, they're trying to incentivize us to play it by giving us double XP weekend, and that kind of makes sense. And one of the comments I got on that video was like, Nero, so what do you think of some of the other game modes that they brought into Call of Duty later on in the game's life cycle? Like, what about Blitz? Did I like Blitz? It was a brand new game mode last year with Call of Duty Ghosts. How was I enjoying that? How was I enjoying the hunted stuff when they brought in the hunted free-for-all? How did I enjoy that? They're asking questions like that in the comments, and I said I really liked Blitz actually in Call of Duty Ghosts. I wasn't a huge fan of Call of Duty Ghosts, but I liked Blitz. The reason I liked Blitz is in a lot of ways it's like Uplink in that you always know where the opposing team is going to be spawning. It's kind of like the old tried and true Demolition, right? You guys remember Demolition? It's nice to play that game modes like that, because even when a UAV is not up, you still have a general idea of where the opponent is, just because the spawn points are very predictable. And you see that a lot when you're playing Uplink, especially on a map that's basically as north and south as Riot is, right? You look at Riot, you know, it's very obvious where the opposing teams are going to be. There's the middle building, there's the left side, there's the right side. You know, it's very north and south. There's no real getting lost or confused on this map. And so you're playing something like Uplink, especially when we pick up the DNA bomb right there, it's very easy to tell where these people are coming from, right? And it's very easy to position yourself in an area in which you can, you know, take them out from behind, which you saw a lot of that in this video. You saw a lot of hit markers, because of course we're using the AE4, but the reason he was able to get this DNA bomb was because the spawns were so ridiculously predictable. Of course, the UAVs were rolling in the entirety of the gameplay, and for the most part, he was just kind of shooting people in the back. Now, sometimes he was outgunning people, which is kind of hard to do with the AE4, but a lot of the time throughout that DNA bomb, he was shooting people in the back, and that's one of the upsides to Uplink, I would say, is the fact that you can do that. The spawns are very predictable, and if you understand the map, you understand the flow a little bit, you can definitely get behind people pretty easily and shoot a lot of people in the back. There we see the final score: 51 kills, 4 deaths, running around that AE4, which is actually pretty good, man. I definitely thought that was a pretty good overall DNA bomb. I definitely enjoyed it quite a lot. Unfortunately, though, it was so fast, I didn't really have time to discuss the Cray class in this video, but that's okay. That's okay, I suppose. We have time to do it right now, so let's get a quick shot at what the Cray class was that we used throughout the entirety of that gameplay. The attachments, definitely recommend all 3 of them. All very good until you get the heatsink. Of course, you want to use the heatsink once you unlock socket. Maybe replace the foregrip or something like that for the heatsink, or maybe replace the adjustable stock. I definitely recommend the red dot sight in this weapon. But red dot, foregrip, and stock, those are all pretty good attachments you can use. And another one I would definitely recommend you using on the AE4 would be the heatsink. Lightweight, great perk. Peripherals, nice perk, not really mandatory. Perk 3, you can tell he screwed up here. He either screwed up, which he probably didn't. He probably just took another class he already had made and just swapped in the AE4 to it, because he's using Scavenger on a laser weapon, which, keep in mind, guys, laser weapons don't need ammo. They don't consume any ammo. They just overheat. So Scavenger completely worthless on this class. So I'll definitely not recommend that. I would definitely recommend something along the lines of toughness. But Blast Suppressor, definitely a very, very, very good perk overall. And in terms of exo ability, Overclock's the only really good one. And in terms of kill streaks like UAV and Systemac, you really can't go wrong with those. That was the Cray class. Pretty basic. You find a lot of these classes here in Advanced Warfare very basic. There's only a few perks that are really kind of worth your time. But that was a great episode of DNA Saturday. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. And if you did, please be sure to leave a rating where you guys feel the video deserves. If you guys would like to submit your DNA bombs for next week's episode of DNA Saturday, watch the video that's on your screen right now. There's an annotation that'll take you over to it, as well as a link to it down in the video description. You need to go and watch that video if you want to have any chance of ever being featured on DNA Saturday. If you guys would like to go ahead and check out Mr. Links, he's a returning guest here on my YouTube channel, and over on his YouTube channel, which you can find at youtube.com/can'ttouchlinks, you'll find Call of Duty videos. Our man here is a very good sniper. I was surprised to see how good sniping he really was, because he does post up a lot of sniper stuff over on his YouTube channel. He has a lot of one-clip edits, which some people like those. Me personally, I was never a big fan of one-clip edits. I always thought, why don't you save those one clips and put together a proper montage, right? That's why I always thought. But he has some one-clip edits, as well as he has a pretty good number of montages, as well as he posts different kinds of DNA bombs, both with sniper rifles as well as with regular guns. He rarely commentates, so I guess you could call him a gameplay channel, but the gameplay he's posted includes montages and one-clip edits and things of that nature, as well as the DNA bombs that you see on a lot of gameplay channels. So he's pretty good, right? Great player, definitely a great player. Rarely does stuff. He also has himself a little clan called Impact, which of course you can check those guys out as well. There's going to be links to him all over his YouTube channel. Just go give him a look. He's got pretty good stuff. And if you're a fan of sniping, I recommend his channel because his montages are pretty good. Better at sniping than I ever was. I can definitely say that. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this week's episode of DNA Saturday. And if you did, please be sure to leave a rating where you guys feel the video deserves. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.